Let's get into the viewer draft mailbag.
Okay.
This is from TGIF08037. My league drafts running backs early and are prone to reach. I have pick 3 and debating starting triple hero running back Bijan, Henry, Pacheco, and Achan Mixon in the 3rd. If it falls that way, then I'd go heavy wide receiver for the rest of the draft. What do you think?
I got no issue with it. Again, it's hard to know without knowing exactly what your league scoring is. How is it a 10-team league? Is it a 12-team league? Are we talking 16-team? So it's hard to know in a vacuum. But again, you know your league better than we do. So if you're telling me it's a running back heavy room and that you think there'll be value at wide receiver later, which by the way, there is depth. We just went through it, right? I mean, some of these guys are dropping, like Rashee Rice going way too late, as we talked about. You just mentioned Stephon Diggs going way too late. So I don't have a problem with a triple heavy running back approach, especially by the way.
Stupid dev approach.
Yeah, the stupid dev approach. We will give Dev needs to get his say on the show. But what I was going to say is, especially if you know your league is sort of running back crazy, having that kind of depth that gives you trade pieces later in the year if you need it to. No issue with the approach if that's how it falls for you.
Yep, and just here are some names of guys going outside the top 32 or top 30 in drafts. Christian Kirk, Rashee Rice, Calvin Ridley, Deontay Johnson, DeAndre Hopkins going outside the top 40. I think there's a lot of depth at wide receiver this year.
The next one from Max. I have the 3rd pick in a 10-team PPR, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, no defense, no kicker draft. Do I take Hall/Bijan? Or do I take a top-end wide receiver? Also, how do I get into a charity guillotine league with Mr. Berry?
Let's never call him Mr. Berry again, for starters.
Sounds very evil.
Yes.
Yeah. Goldfinger. Expect me to talk.
Yeah, I like that. You want to handle this one? One of you guys want to take this? Or you want me to do this? What do you
I
got?
think the thing is
Third pick.
So for the most part, the way this is usually going to shake out is it's going to be CMC, Tyreek, and CD Lamb. And those are your top 3. And my general strategy, having the 3rd pick in the draft, I'm just taking whoever of those 3 guys falls. I think to 3 would be my overall strategy. But particularly if it's Tyreek falling to 3, I'm a little bit concerned about. If you want to take Bijan over Tyreek Hill, I think that's perfectly defensible.
Because it's a 10-team league, there's going to be more depth there. Because it's a 3 wide receiver, it's 2 running back, 3 wide receiver. I probably would go with a wide receiver there. But I have no problem because I think you'll be able to get. You'll be able to get a Henry or a Pacheco.
Yep, and it's PPR.
On the wraparound there. Having said all that, because wide receiver is so deep, I think you're right. I think I'd probably rank it for this particular guy. I think I would probably rank it CMC, Lamb, and then Brees. Right, okay. Brees or Bijan. It's kind of a clean.
That's how I would go.
Yeah,
I don't know why I just haven't found myself taking Tyreek Hill this year. I would value CD.
It's like a 30-year-old wide receiver who gets hurt every year and is already hurt. And Tua doesn't
really
like it when it gets cold.
Yeah. I'm a little higher on Jefferson in that situation. If I'm going wide receiver.
Yep.
So
that's fair.
All right, the next question here from Al Main. Keeper league. Keep Jonathan Taylor and lose my 5th-round pick, or keep Breece Hall and lose my 4th-round pick. Struggling to decide with Richardson rushing versus Rodgers checking goal line runs to pass. Actually a really interesting scenario because it's great value on both.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think with Jonathan Taylor, who I think we all like where he's going at the moment, don't think that he is overvalued or anything, but it's just a math problem with the carries. Like, if Anthony Richardson is going to carry the ball 150 times, like JT kind of maxes out at 250 carries. It's pretty hard to carry the ball more than 400 times between RB1 and a quarterback who runs. So that would be the issue. I think Breece just has such a high floor if he stays healthy because he's the only guy.
The passing game work, the receiving gap between Breece Hall and Jonathan Taylor is going to be really significant. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a center. Like if I told you a year from now, by the way, Breece Hall had more total touchdowns than Jonathan Taylor, yeah, that makes sense. Or Jonathan Taylor had more. You could see that, but Breece Hall's going to have a lot more receiving work. So let's do one more here.
Yeah, this is from Immortal Lou 30. Shout out to Immortal Lou. Is Tyler Conklin underrated? One of only 6 tight ends in the NFL to have 55-plus catches and 550-plus yards each of the last 3 seasons. And his touchdowns should increase with Rodgers. Especially curious for Connor's take as the resident Jets expert. I think he is underrated. He doesn't even get drafted in a lot of leagues, and he's consistent. And the same combo we just had with Breece Hall, who's catching the ball for the Jets? It's Garrett Wilson. And then until Mike Williams is actually healthy, it's Breece Hall and Tyler Conklin. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not Malachi Corley is not going to be much of a thing early in the season. Xavier Gibson a little, but needs to get healthy. There's just no one.
Yeah.
Conklin's going to get targets.
Yeah, I agree. But I think he's more of a tight end in a deeper league. He's not a top 10 tight end, but he's a touchdown dependent upside tight end too. I have one last question here as well. So yesterday after the draft, the entire show went out to celebrate the draft and kick off the party. Now, I went there because I'm a man of the people. I'm a man of the people. But Jay Croucher and Connor Rogers did not go. Everyone else on the show came out to celebrate, not Jay Croucher, not Connor Rogers. But we did, I just want to point this out, we did have a special guest. Stephen, can you throw up that picture? Oh, that's right. Emmy Award winning Todd Zeal
He showed
made
up.
an appearance.
That's why he wins the Emmys, and I do not.
Man of the people.
1,000%.
Massive win for the Mets.
Yeah.
Most shocking about this graphic is that Edwin Diaz had a save.
Yeah.
And didn't give up
with
a
no
walk.
walks.
Yeah, no bombs.
Yeah, but
man.
it was just nice of Emmy Award winning Todd Zeal to show up to the party.
He spreads his time better than me.
Yeah, whereas you, Connor, just blew us all off. It's all good.
The tough thing is
We were at home watching Todd Zeal.
Right. And the tough thing is when you're the first one at the desk every day, that means I sacrifice more time in the morning that my dog does not get to go out, so I have to go home.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's the hard part.
Or hire someone to, walk your dog, ask a neighbor to do it.
No, absolutely not. No trust in that.
It's whatever.
Absolutely not.
Connor's a man. You're a man of the people. Connor's a man of the dogs.
That's
A man of
very
the
true.
dogs.
There you go.
Fantasy season just got better this season. $1 million better. Creator join a private Yahoo Fantasy League and enter the $1 million NBC sweepstakes. Plus, earn extra entries to win when players on your fantasy roster score a touchdown during an opening weekend game on NBC or Peacock. Download the redesigned Yahoo Fantasy app or go to NBCSports.com/fantasymillion to learn more.
Okay, you have a chance to win $1 million in the NBC sweepstakes on Yahoo Fantasy. Just download the redesigned Yahoo Fantasy app or go to NBCSports.com/fantasymillion for additional details. What are you waiting for?
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.